Okay, I'm up here at the training center this morning and I'm using the DG700 to do a blower door test, and we're going to use the TEC Auto Test App on the iPad or the iPhone tablet or iPhone. So basically all you got to do is I have the Wi-Fi module on top here, so you just plug that in and turn on your DG700, and that's it. You don't touch anything else on the DG700. You do have to click the fan on, and then you want the cord for the cruise control set up. And that's it. I've got my blower door set up with the cover on, and we're going to come over here and we're going to go to the iPad, and we're gonna run through the settings on the iPad. Okay, on the iPad, the first thing you've got to do is just go into your settings and change your Wi-Fi, or point your Wi-Fi at the DG700. So just select that. If you haven't put a password in lately, it'll ask you to put that in, and then once you've done that, now you're ready to go in and run your TEC Auto Test. So first thing you do is you get to create a new project. So I just hit plus, and I'm going to use my little wireless keyboard, so you won't really, I'm doing that off screen. But let's just go October 2017 technical meeting. And I hit OK. And then this is one of the things that I think will help make things quicker. There's a button here, and if you have your location turned on your phone, you can click the button and the button will determine your location. It grabs a latitude, a longitude, and then you just select use current location, and then you'll see in a minute it grabs the altitude which you need. So if you do that for your building, and then sometimes it will ask you if you want to use the local address that it's found. In fact, so if I say use current location, anyway, if it can find an address, it'll just say, do you want us to use that address? And then you can also put in the name of the customer, which is nice. We'll say, Bob Vila is our customer today. And you can put in more information if you need to, but that should do for right now. You can always go back and edit that stuff. And then down below it says tests, and you can edit any of your tests, or you can hit the plus sign to create a new one. So the purpose of this test is going to be a blower door, and I'm showing an example of the DG700, so I'm going to say blower door DG700. If you're auditing a home, you could put, pre-weatherization blower door or blower door audit or whatever you want to do. There's a few options here. You've got to select one of them. The IECC 1215 envelope leakage is probably the best one. It's going to be the most accurate, but you can also just do a CFM 50 envelope leakage. And this is the multi-point, the ICC one. And the CFM 50 is just the single point blower door test. So I'm going to select the multi-point test, and then you have the option to set a leakage target in air changes per hour at 50. You can set all kinds of things here. You can put in your building volume, your surface area. In fact, if we put that stuff in, and I'll show it on another test, it will actually calculate air changes per hour properly. But you can also just leave it all blank, because for our blower door we really don't need all of that stuff. And then the first thing you got to watch for is just up here, it says gauge, and you just have to click connect. So now, since I got my Wi-Fi module on, we've connected to the DG700, and it's showing this graph because it's going to run that multi-point test. If you click start the test, it asks for your indoor and outdoor temperature. Our indoor temperature this morning is about 68 degrees. Our outdoor temperature is 65. And then if you didn't push that use location button, then the altitude section will be blank and you'll have to look up your altitude. But since we already selected that, it has populated that and it's ready to run the test. So, and then it says just exactly what you're used to on the TEC software. It'll do a baseline for you. With the cover on, it takes a 10-second sampling. And it just tells you up here it's measuring the baseline. And then it says the baseline is done. Go ahead and uncover things. So we'll uncover our fan. And we're going to take all of the rings off so we have an open fan. So when I hit continue, it asks me which ring setup I have. I'm going to select open fan and leave that. And then it will just automatically start running the test. Okay, it's telling me I need to put a new ring on. So I'll come over here and put ring A on. Hit continue. And then once it's done, we have to do another baseline. So we cover it back up and hit continue. And this asks for the indoor and outdoor temperature one more time as well. So we're still at 68 degrees and 65 outside. And then it says the test is complete. Would you like to view the report? Okay, and then it shows us what the test is. Again, the multi-point blower door test, it takes multiple samples at different pressures and averages them all together, so you get a more accurate measurement. But it also does take a little more time. You're not required to do the multi-point, but you can. And then this test, the results, the way that they've set this up, it's for the IECC, which you're looking for air changes per hour, and so you have a measured leakage and a target leakage and whether or not you pass. It's saying 0 because we didn't put in our building volume. So the results here and the pass here really mean nothing to us. But in weatherization, this is what we're looking for here is what we measured at CFM 50. So this house had 3383.7. So that was our blower door number off of this one. So the cool thing is, so we didn't put our building volume and our surface area in earlier. If you'll come back in here, you can do that very quickly. So our volume is 9506. And our enclosed surface area is 1162. And you can also make any comments that you want to if you needed to add something. But you still have all that same data in here, but now it's going to show the report. And it's saying that our measured leakage is at 21 air changes per hour based on that surface area and volume of a building, and that we failed. So you can see we still have our original blower door numbers, but now we've got our building volume and our flow coefficient and things like that are all laid out. So it'll keep the test results, and you can modify this test. You can also go back and modify and put, if you didn't know what the client's name was when you were in the field, or you didn't know what their address was, you can go in and change any of that and then generate that report. So now we have a project ID for October 2017, and we have a blower door DG700. And what I want to do, I'm actually going to edit the title of that. So instead of saying blower door DG700, I want to put multi-point. So this is our multi-point blower door DG700. So Oh, whoops, I added one. Name multi-point. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's edit and throw that one in the garbage. We're going to go into the blower door and we're going to change the name of it. Sorry. So multi-point blower door DG700. Okay, so now I've renamed it. Now I'm going to run another blower door, and this time we're going to do a single point. So I'm going to add one. But before I do this, what I want to do is I actually want to change out my gauge. Okay, so we're going to swap this out for the DG1000 instead of the 700. The DG1000, I'm really liking this. The setup on it's a lot easier. So I just held this power button down, and while that's powering up, I'm going to turn this off real quick, and we're going to disconnect this. And one of the things I dislike about the DG700 is you have to unplug your Wi-Fi or it will drain your battery. But okay, so I'm going to take this down, and okay, I swapped out the this mounting bracket for the DG1000 mounting bracket. I like they put in a couple of grooves here to hold your hoses, and then also it's just magnetic, so all you got to do is slap your gauge up there and it stays. And then the other nice thing is, so we're going to go to gauge. All your ports are down here, but so we're going to put in our input and our reference lines, right? So on channel A, we're taking our input is the building pressure, and our reference point is the green hose, which goes outside. So we're referencing inside right here to the outside. And then on channel B, our input is actually the pressure from the fan. So we're going to put our red hose on right there, and then we're referencing our indoor pressure on this tab. So this should be our setup for a blower door. And you do have to connect one thing. You got to plug in your cruise control. That just goes right in on top of the gauge here. But other than that, the Wi-Fi is running, so we'll just switch this back on, and then we'll come over to our tablet and set it up so that we can run our DG1000. So I'm gonna, again, since I switched controls, I've got to come in, and since the DG1000 is turned on, it is putting out a signal. If you can't find your password for the DG1000, you actually go into your Wi-Fi settings on the control, and it tells you right where they are. But other than that, you can really control everything from here. So I'm going to come in here. I'm again in this project called October 2017 Technical Meeting. We already did our multi-point with the DG700, so we're going to do another test. And this one is going to be a single point. And we're going to do the DG1000. So for our single point, we're going to select just a CFM 50 envelope leakage and hit, 50, and hit OK. And one thing I didn't show you, you can put in your name, so you can put in the technician's name, credentials, your email, stuff like that, and all of that stuff will show up on your report as well. Again, you can change your building volume and things like that. So let's go ahead and put in the same building volume at 9506. And our area is 1162, and we're going to go ahead and run the test. So here it says the gauge, and we need to connect, so you just click connect, and it grabbed the DG1000, and it is monitoring. So now we're ready to start the test. So, and you can see all we're going to do is we're going to take a baseline, we're going to take one measurement at 50. So again, it asks us for our indoor and outdoor temperatures. And since I already did a geotag on it, we know what our altitude is. So it says, are you ready for your baseline? And with the cover on, we are ready for the baseline test. So we run that. And it just takes a 10-second sampling. And then we uncover, or put whatever ring we want on for our test. In this case, at 50 Pascal with this much leakage, we're going to have it open. So we hit continue, open fan, okay. Run our single point test. And on the single point test, you don't have to put the temperature back in or anything like that. It just says, would you like to view the report? You hit yes. And you can see that we put in all the same stuff. On this report, we're really just after the measured leakage. So it tells us right here we are at 3581. Slightly different results from what we got off the multi-point test. The multi-point test will give you a lot more information, or is a lot more accurate, but the single point test is sufficient for what we're doing in our program. So when you're done, you can get back in here and you now have on your iPad, you've got your customer's name or your project name, and you can see all of the tests that you've run for that customer. Okay, I've got the duct blaster set up, and I'm using my DG1000, and we're going to do a total duct leakage test. So I've got a couple of doors open to the outside, this one and that one, and then I just have every one of my registers all sealed off throughout the house. Once we have everything set up, we're going to go ahead and run our test from the tablet. We just need to select our October technical meeting. Shows that we have our 2 blower door tests already done, and we're just going to add a test to it. The purpose of this test is going to be total duct leakage. So I'm going to give it that name, and you may also want to include like pre-weatherization or something. And then if you'll select your CFM at 25, duct leakage, hit OK. And then the other variable here is the condition floor, which is 1304. Not really sure why that plays in, but we'll enter that, and then it takes you into the test. Remember, every time you gotta hit connect to your gauge, and once it finds the gauge, then you're ready to run the test. The other options, you can switch to a different type of duct blaster, but basically both the older white housing fans we have and the black housing fans, the newer ones, both of those you're just going to select Duct Blaster B, and then you have your configuration over here. But you'll notice when you start the test, it's going to check and make sure that you thought about the configuration. It makes you verify what that is. So you just start the test, hit whatever you're configured at. Here we're at an open fan, and then the fan will slowly ramp up. You can see over here on the left, it's slowly ramping up to get the duct pressure up to 25 Pascal. As soon as it gets close to 25 and actually can take a decent sampling, then the test is over. But you'll notice until we get up to a decent steady pressure, then it's saying low. Now we're starting to read some flow on the right hand side. And it's sampling. and the test is complete. You hit yes, you can see the report, and it's just got all the general information we put in here, and really all we're looking for here is that the total leakage was 644.9 CFM. So that's it, and when you're done, you can get back into this project, and now we have all 3 of our tests in there. Okay, in this test, we are going to do our duct leakage to the outside. So we have our blower door, we've turned it around, and we just have, using the DG700, we've got it set on cruise control at 25 Pascal. So it's pressurizing the house to 25 Pascal. We have our duct blaster set up in here, and we're using the DG1000 to run our duct blaster. So the duct blaster set, you put the dial just down here so it's just barely on, and that way we can run it remotely. If you turn it up at all, it'll run the fan speed, but it won't do the cruise control. So you gotta leave that there. And then as soon as we connect, we'll run all this remotely. But one of the things you've got to do, if you're going to use the software to run your duct leakage to the outside test, you have to reference the outside. So on this port, input A, that's our duct pressure. So we're running from right here right up into our duct, just above, into the supply side of the duct, just above the air conditioner. And then channel B, we're going to measure our flow going through our fan. So that's why the red hose is going down to the fan. But if you're used to doing this test, normally you're gonna leave this port open, and you're gonna run your fan speed to 0 Pascal of pressure, but the software that we have does not have that option. It'll only go to 25. So in order to do that, you have to reference the outside pressure. So this blue hose runs outside the building envelope. So when we run our fan, we'll actually run our fan up to 25 Pascal of pressure, which is the exact same as if we took this off and ran it to 0, and it would be referencing this inside space. So we've got everything set up properly. Now we're just going to go and run it using the iPad. Okay, so we got the blower door fan running. Hopefully that's not making too much noise, but on this one, we've got our project selected, and we're just going to go in. We're going to add one more test. This test we're going to call duct leakage to the outside. And again, you may want to go pre-weatherization or something like that. And then you have a few options here. Every single one of them will only do the test at 25 Pascal. So you've got the IECC, you got a California Title 24, and then just at CFM 25 duct leakage. So I'm going to select this one. They'll all pretty much do the same thing, but try them out. The main idea is that we're going to be using 25 Pascal of pressure. We're going to put in our conditioned floor space, which is 1304, and then we're ready to run the test. We've got to connect to our gauge, and we're using our duct blaster and our configuration on this one. We're going to run this with ring number 1 on it. So when I start the test, it's going to ask me what my configuration is. I select ring number 1, and then you'll notice both on the DG1000 gauge and also here, if you want to ramp that fan speed up, just slide it over and it'll jump right up for you. So that can save you a little bit of time. And then once we get our duct pressure right at about 25 Pascal, it will take a sampling and the test is complete. And here's our report. And that's it. That's all you got to do. To finish up, just the thing that I really like about this is it basically it's created a folder with your client name on it, and you have all of your tests in here. And if you forgot to put in some info that is part of the calculation on any one of these tests, you can always go in and edit them because you've already measured that. But that way you can clean up your tests once you're done so that you have all the info that you want. and then you can send any one of these to yourself just by getting into the report and then emailing it to yourself. So it's not bad. Basically, it's just doing exactly the same thing the TEC was doing. It's just doing it all on your tablet or your phone, and kind of keeping it a little more organized, a little easier to use.